got, John? Got it. One more second. Here we go. Another last 15 inches.
It'll be okay. That's one of the things.
Here we are at the Natural Science Museum in Houston. How you doing, Dr. Temple?
Doing good. Thank you.
So what is going on here today?
It's moving day. So this dinosaur has sat pretty much in this spot since 1973, and what we're doing is we're packing it up. Basically, she's been here for a while, needs a little work, so we're going to pack her up, move her to our new hall. But she's going to be cleaned and remounted, and then we'll move it into the new hall.
Now see right here, she is dusting it?
She
is. That a vertebrate?
This is a vertebrate right here. This is one of the original fossil vertebrae. And one of the part of the processing is, of course, we disarticulate the mount. Then we bring the bones down, clean them, we mark them, photograph them, and of course have to very carefully pack them, and then put them in boxes for shipping. And this bone, it's interesting, it has a lot in common with glass. So the bone is very brittle, the mineralization makes it brittle, and it's very delicate.
Very cool. And so, maybe I could be wrong, but a lot of diplodocuses were found through Andrew Carnegie.
Yes, well, this one has an Andrew Carnegie connection.
It doesn't?
It does.
Oh, it does?
It does. Diplodocus itself was first discovered by Marsh in
1878.
1878, that's
yeah.
correct. This particular one, or one of the first ones, was collected by Williston. And the Carnegie really made Diplodocus a household name. So he collected one, and they, of course, mounted it there in Pittsburgh. And what he did was he then sent copies, plaster copies of these things, to monarchs all across Europe. So Diplodocus became synonymous with dinosaur. When you thought of dinosaur, you thought of Diplodocus.
You think of the dip.
Yeah, you think of Diplodocus.
And it's a very common dinosaur.
It's pretty common, yes. And it would have been, one of those herbivores that would have been on the landscape. Now, we're fortunate that Carnegie did that because they had already mounted the species that at that time bore his namesake, Diplodocus carnegii, and when this one was shipped back to the Carnegie, they already had one mounted. So this one went into storage. And then approximately, 60 years later or so, Houston ended up acquiring it.
So right here, this is an original dinosaur.
This is. As found, it was about 60% original fossil. This is important because it's also Diplodocus hei. So there's several different species of Diplodocus.
There are 4
known.
species?
Yes.
And they're all also known as the double tail, or...
Yeah, double beam. They all have the name
double
Diplodocus,
beam.
but there's different
that
subspecies
chevron
now.
bone at the... It's quite amazing because while this might be the largest dinosaur, it's not so smart. It's probably just as bright as what it ate, right?
People say that, and I take exception to that because I have a dog that my wife says, and Skippy is smart as an orange. You know what? Skippy is as smart as Skippy needs to be. So these animals are around for millions and millions of years. They they survived, they thrived, they were different species, so they were success for the time that they lived in. And so really, we estimate intelligence as being important, but that's of course because we, sort of the definition of that. We have large brains and we really value that.
Yeah.
But so the computing power for this thing, not huge, but still very successful.
And as we see that the neck is was built up. Now, scientists have now discovered that the Diplodocus...
Yeah, this is one of the things that will probably be changed on the mount.
So the mount is now going to be horizontal?
It will be more horizontal, yes.
Yeah.
So when this particular mount was created, the science at the time, when it was originally created, the science at the time had them living in swamps and dragging the tail behind. And so this mount itself has undergone some of the changes that reflect the belief in the science. For instance, one of the things that we quickly discovered was that even when they found Diplodocus trackways and other sauropod trackways, no drag marks. And if they're dragging their tails behind them, you'd see that tail mark there. You don't see that. So they raised the tail. And so we redid the mount in '92. We raised the tail. The neck is still up, sort of in that swamp-living posture, and whether or not
they could produce that much pumping blood up to
Right, that's one of the huge issues with it. And sauropods, actually, theropods are very sort of straightforward in how you understand their biomechanics. Sauropods, there's a lot of things about them that don't make sense. So one of the things is, as you mentioned, the head and neck being held horizontal, and instead of the animal having to raise its neck like this, the whole animal would rise up. so the neck stays plane, but you can go into something that's called tripod stance. And the later diplodocus, which we have mounted in the hall, in our new hall, does reflect that. But this is a product of the time that it was mounted. But it's still a wonderful mount, and it's, you know, it sort of shows you the not only the evolution of the dinosaur, but the evolution of the science
Of our knowledge.
and also, of course, the technology for mounting these things. So mounting dinosaurs, that technology is a whole other fascinating thing. For instance, the T-Rex that was originally mounted as envisioned by Osborne was not a tail dragger. It was a very active predator, and he completed a mount where it's on one foot attacking, you know, leaping, jumping. Didn't have the space, didn't have the technology in 1907 really to do that. So the ones today are mounted that way, but back then not so much.
And from my understanding is that this dinosaur is being moved off this mound right here to have a bronze statue of you.
No.
Yeah, we're gonna have a Dr. Temple bronze statue.
No temple statue. No temple. But no, it will be moved and installed in the new hall with the rest of the Houston Museum dinosaur collection. It's kind of exciting. When we acquired this piece, we only had a dinosaur. They wanted a dinosaur for what that was at that time, the Houston Museum of Natural History, because, you know, every respectable museum has a dinosaur. We wanted to get a dinosaur. They were fortunate. They chose well. We got this one. And of course now we have a collection of dinosaurs. So we want our first dinosaur to be with the rest of the collection.
Very cool. So today is Tuesday. We have till Friday till this whole thing is dismantled. So if you want to check this thing out, come say hey. And again, Dr. Temple, and we'll see you around. Peace.
So we have to have 2 people to be able to get in the lift.
Okay, smile. Look happy. You enjoy your work. There you go. Okay. Okay, so we rotate it like that.